Sharda, if I may start with you, there's a lot of talk about how this is going to impact the IPL tender process, which was to be done by 25th of this month. Do you see that getting delayed now?
Sorry, Rika, I just lost your question a little bit. Could you just repeat?
I asked you about the IPL tender process, and there is a lot of talk about how this is going to impact that. Do you see the process is going to be, do you think the process is going to be delayed now?
I would think that, by delaying the process, what will happen is that the BCCI will almost challenge what the Supreme Court has ordered for them to do today. How they will go about it, whether an independent auditor will be allowed to come into their room. The IPL is very much BCCI's golden goose. It is the most profitable and the biggest tournament that they run, and it's the one through which they actually do, negotiate with other boards and exercise a lot of power through it. Whether they will have an auditor come in or not, that remains, in doubt at the moment. An independent auditor to be sitting in that room, it'll really, I think, bother them for having to even accept to do that.
Absolutely, that will be a big bother for the BCCI if an auditor is to come in. Do you think that might devalue the IPL rights, because BCCI was expecting to get something between 16,000 to 21,000 crores? Would that devaluate it?
Well, definitely scrutiny is never something they've sought, let alone accepted. So I think the fact that there will be so much scrutiny of things they hold sacrosanct in terms of confidentiality, I think that's definitely a concern even for potential sponsors.
Akash, let me ask you, by regulating commercial leverage, Supreme Court now, does it expect that BCCI is going to fall in line?
I don't know. Obviously, Sharda said that they won't be too happy. Obviously, he's also saying the same thing, that it's not done. But personally, I personally feel I have got no knowledge how these commercial tenders are given, sought, and eventually been and won. I think it can't be too bad a thing, to be fair. If an independent auditor is sitting, I think everything must be transparent already. People should know what's there in the contract. It will be there. The money, the financial transactions has to be transparent. I don't see any issue with that as far as I'm concerned, but then I might just be too naive.
But as you are concerned, being a player, you must be concerned about the finances. From a player's perspective, just tell us, how anxious will be the Indian cricketers now, given that their performance bonus is not being given out unless Justice Lodha panel recommends that the performance bonus can go now?
Anyone in their right mind can't really stop the bonuses, and nobody, and whether it's Mr. Lodha or CGI or Mr. Thakur, nobody is going to say don't pay the cricketers, don't let them play for free. There is no fee. The money that's coming into the board is primarily because of their strongest assets, and that's Virat Kohli, Mahendra Singh Dhoni, and the remainder of the cricket team. So I don't see that being an issue. The money that goes to the associations, some part of it is definitely invested back into the game for the grassroots levels and development of the sport. I don't think anybody is going to have a grouse against that. The money that's being paid to the players, nobody can have an issue with that either. So players might not be too anxious, in my opinion.
Players will not be anxious, but definitely the administrators will be. Akash, Sharda, my next question is to you. How will this impact cricket? Can the associations now turn around and say that we are not in a position to conduct matches anymore?
I don't think, actually, Rika, in all fairness, they will be standing on any kind of leg if they say that, for the simple reason that their accounts can easily be accessed by anyone from the court, by the auditor, who can say, all right, let me see how much money is there in your bank accounts, and let's see if you can or cannot hold a match or a couple of matches this season. And using that argument and using the IPL's history of rewarding state associations almost 25 to 30 crores every year, you can't say that you can't stage a match unless very deliberately the BCCI's top officials, who themselves run state associations, they say that, listen, let's stop matches, let's put this all into a deep freeze, and let's put domestic cricket into a deep freeze because it's a slightly less visible And if you put international cricket into a deep freeze, India has to play 13 test matches at home. You have signed television contracts with it. It's not that they don't have money in their coffers right now to be able to have financial transactions with the television broadcasters and so on. They may use it as a ploy. That's not to say they won't use it as a ploy or find ways to use it as a ploy. But is it a financial liability that they suddenly are left with zero in all their bank accounts? I don't think that's the case.
That's not the case, but BCCI has been arguing that their final decision will be what the 30 associations think. Now, Justice Lodha told us this morning that even after today's order, he doesn't think that they will fall in line. Do you think that his apprehensions will come true?
I think if you look at the track record, there's definitely not been much in terms of cooperation from the board and maybe the state associations thus far. I think as the Supreme Court gets more and more concrete in its resolve, and as they pass these interim orders which are kind of holding them fiscally and even ethically accountable now to the court and to the Indian public, I think it's going to be hard for them to wriggle out of it unless there's a solution from the legislation.
Akash, let me ask this question to you. So there were three bone of contentions. One was age cap, tenure cap, and the other was one state, one vote. Right now, what really is the sticking point? Is it the tenure cap?
I don't know, to be honest. Personally, I thought one state, one vote was a bit of an issue because then the foundations of the BCCI, you've got some founder members who won't have a voting right. That should have been the bone of contention, because then you're challenging history. Then you're saying Mumbai, you may be the erstwhile powerhouse of Indian cricket, but for 3 years you can't really vote. I thought that would be the bone of contention, but what it is at this point in time, I have no clue. From a cricketer standpoint, maybe Sharda is better suited.
If I can take that question to you, what really is the sticking point now? Is it the tenure cap?
I think it's basically not holding dual posts and the fact of that cooling off period. I think they may be the great story that has emerged from all these conspiracies and counter conspiracies going on is that it's actually one of the BCCI officials, current officials, who suggested to the Lodha panel that let's have one state, one vote. Let's not give votes to National Cricket Club and let's not give votes to CCI and so on. They don't deserve vote. Let's have one state, one vote. And that's the story that's going around, which is fantastic. It's like made for a novel.
Absolutely, it does have a fantastic
I think
plot.
In fact, it's that holding two posts, two posts and a cooling off period. That's what bothers the officials most. I think all four of them. I don't think they're that worried about the 70 years of age. Maybe not all four. Maybe I'm wrong there. But I don't think the age cap matters as much as the fact that you can't hold two posts both in your state and in your. That becomes a critical one.
Right. Thank you, Sharda. Thank you, Akash and Desh, for joining us.